All right, let's see what we have here. We're going to jump into this live analysis as soon as we have a confirmation that we have the stream moving, and then we will break down what is going on in the crypto market as we speak. And if anybody can hear me, please post in the comments and let me know with a confirmation. And once we have confirmation, then we will start to jump into the analysis. Okay, so I am currently monitoring the action on my phone. Let me put that on mute so we can continue this live broadcast, and then we'll look and see what's going on with the action on the market. And then I will check back and forth. Timo Smeets, thank you. You can hear me. Then we are live. We're going to just jump straight into this. Okay, so to start off this live stream, we are looking at what's going on with the market. And what I have noticed over the past several days is that everyone on YouTube did a 180 and flipped to complete bullish projections, while the charts were not speaking the same. Neither were the indications from the economy, especially with the recent report that inflation is at 7.5%, breaking records. And at the same time, all of the big mouths on YouTube were yammering on about we're about to blow off to 50,000. It's not looking like that is happening, and we see a slight trend change here with Bitcoin, this slight dip where we are at the top of the support resistance zone, sitting at the volume node of 43,000. But what we also see down below here is a very sharp, complete change of direction with a nasty stochastic crossover on the 4-hour. Plus, the MACD is curling over. The fast line and the slow line are diverging away from each other. And we are also printing red bars on the histogram. So this is not really looking to me like the bullish projections are correct. So we're going to look at the chart and see what the chart has to say, and then look at some of the top projects, because the altcoins are taking a much bigger beating than what Bitcoin is. It seems that the reaction of the altcoins to the news from the feds and the publishing of the inflation rates, they are turning around and heading down south. All right, so we see this ascending slope line right here that I've indicated on the chart, on the 4-hour chart. This is TradingView that I'm using, and all I did was connect the dots between this low point and the second low point after this general trend change from an overall bearish trend to a bullish trend on the micro level. And then we can see that we have a bullish crossover of the 50 EMA crossing over the top of the 200 EMA. But then we have this dip, which is bigger than this last one, and indications are not looking like we're sailing off to 50,000. Right now, the best case scenario that we can see here is that we could settle in at the point of control price of 41,702. But there's also a chance that we could continue down and touch down on this ascending trend line that would stick us right here at this peak volume node at 38,568. Now, what I am going to do in my strategy, which is not financial advice to you, but I'm just sharing what I'm doing. I'm not trying to make predictions here and make a name for myself and get clout on YouTube. I'm just watching the market and sharing with my close friends and family who like to know what's going on. I will start accumulating once we touch at this point, because there's a chance that we could sail right back up after we fall below. If we do fall below this volume node right here at 43,000, we could quickly return down to this lower one at the point of control price. After that point, we could fly up, or we could come down and try to find this next support resistance zone that goes between 37,941 and 38,673. There's a volume node right there sticking out at 38,568 that could be a pivot point. If we don't hold that, we go to the next volume node, which magically matches the bottom of this slim support resistance zone. And if we fail that, the next big node is right here in the middle of these two zones at 36,949. And then we'll see if there's support down at the bottom of this support resistance zone at 35,696. The chances of this happening are least. This is probable. This is most probable, staying within this zone. Now, we're going to look at the one-day chart and see what things look like with the one day. Let's scrunch this down. And it doesn't look quite as nasty here on the price line because we see that we've just got one red candle and a slight green candle, and we're sitting at the thick of this node at the top of this support resistance zone. But if you will notice, let me put some drawing on here. Whoops, wrong tool. I want to get my drawing tool out so we can draw on this chart. And I will show you what does not look good about this chart. Let's scrunch this down a little bit, and this too. And now we can take a screenshot and we'll go full screen and do a little drawing. Now what we see here is a big nasty turnaround on the stochastic. We did a full cycle up. We peaked out. We had a definite crossover, and we have a sharp angle downward with the fast line and the slow line divergent from each other. Down here on the MACD, we see that the oscillators are starting to curl over. We got the fast line starting to curl over, and we see that the histogram has peaked out. We've gone from solid green bars to light green. So that means that we are on a general decline. Now, if we look at this, let's turn drawing mode off and scrunch this down even more so we can fit in the last peak on the MACD. And then we can see an overall trend from this peak. If we connect the dots, if we peak out again, this is a downtrend. And so while the overall downward trending trading channel is here, we see that we have not broken the channel. So everybody was all excited, but we did not have absolute confirmation. For me, what I'm looking for is breaking of this channel here for absolute confirmation that we're in a bear market to a bull market, a switch over. So that would mean breaking through right there. Now, there's a lot of gains that are to be given up in this area where if while we were fooling around down here, breaking the bottom of the channel right there, which I thought that was an absolute confirmation that we were going to continue downward. We all got fooled, and I think that's because the exchanges decided to liquidate all of the shorts. So once we got here, everyone was saying that we were going to drop to 30,000, 20,000, 14,000, and even 10,000. And what do the exchanges do? They take advantage of all the leveraged traders, and they got caught with their pants down, and they pumped up price all the way up to here. And there were so many people that got liquidated, it just wasn't funny. It was pretty ugly. So that's what we have on the one-day chart, and we can see there's the trading channel right there. We're not out of it, so this is not as absolute as everyone said that it was going to be, just because of this movement, because we never made it back to the point of control price on this chart, which is here at 47,000. Breaking this big fat volume node and establishing a new base at 47,000 and then climbing back up to 55 to this support resistance zone would have been an absolute, in my opinion, an indication of a change in the overall direction. It doesn't look like that to me. I don't see an absolute change. Okay, so let's jump back to the 4-hour chart and move this up a little bit. And we see that we have a green hammer candle that is forming right now. It looks like we almost wicked down to the 50 EMA, and it just turned red again, just like that. So we got some indecision that's going on right here. But as I said before, the biggest indication is this nasty crossover and this deep decline, this deep slide on the stochastic. Now, it just didn't make sense to me that after such negative news would come out from the Feds and the report about the inflation, that we would just sail on up to 50,000. Made no sense to me whatsoever. So I'm not surprised about this. It seems like the market hung on for a little bit, but all markets are down and they're looking very bearish. So I'm not one to just believe all this stuff and take it for face value. All right, we've got Markham in the house. Welcome aboard. Red candle turned into green and it flipped right back to red again. Just like that in a blink of an eye. I'm going to run straight on down the line and we're going to look at some of the alts and see how they are responding to this news. Starting out with Ethereum. Oh man, Ethereum looks worse. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 red candles. We almost had this nice little bullish crossover, but now you can see that the 50 is leveling off because of this downward movement. And we are trading below this volume node that was at 3112. And the next spot could be heading for this volume node at 2780. Then we have a 2622 point of control price at 2443. All right, we need to clear that arrow there. There we go. So this is ugly. The only good thing is that the stochastic really moved it moved a long way here. And if we can get down here into oversold and hold the line at the 50, then that could be the extent of it here. But the evidence that goes against that is the rolling over of the MACD oscillators was lagged behind the stochastic. There's a divergence here. We about had a bullish crossover, faked out, went back below, faked out again with a bullish cross, and then now we're divergent. We're printing bars in the negative on the histogram. Litecoin. What are we doing, Litecoin? We've got 4 red candles in a row, and it's looking like the exact same chart as Ethereum. So everything I said on the previous holds true here. Let's look at Matic. Oh, man, Matic, you're not looking good right now. We are below the 200 EMA. We have gone below the 50 EMA, point of control price at $1.54. We got a node at 170. We have a node at 164. Let's see if momentum takes us all the way down there. Like I said before, the stochastic dropped off so far that it looks like the price decline compared to the stochastic drop. This is getting ahead of the price decline, so maybe it'll catch itself and turn back around. But the MACD is just getting started on an overall cycle down. Oh, I skipped XRP. It's looking the same though. Big, nasty drop. We had a possible flip that was going to happen here, but it unfurled, and stochastic is looking bearish. Oh, that was a nice bullish crossover there, but that's going to get annihilated if we continue to come down to this next volume node at 74 cents. Then we have the big one down here at 67 and the point of control price at 60 cents. All right, let's move it right along and jump down to Solana. Solana's looking gross. 4 red candles in a row. Point of control price is at 92, and we're headed in that direction. Stochastic never gained any momentum. It never made it up here into overbought. We flipped right over, and we have a very negative azimuth here on the stochastic, and the MACD is headed in the south direction. All right, KDA, which was looking fantastic, and it got above 10. It didn't complete a full 4-hour candle, closing above 10. And we see a green candle form right here where it's trying to fight its way back up to $8.86, but the stochastic has a steep drop. And we might be entering into the oversold zone, but how long will it stay down there? We don't know. We have a rollover of the oscillators here on the MACD. There's a nice gap, a divergence between the fast and the slow line, and we were printing candles. We were printing bars on the histogram in the negative. Flux, I have my eyes on. Flux is the same. It never got the momentum to complete a full cycle back up after we had a double humped camel poking our head into the overbought zone twice on the stochastic, where we had peak number 1 here and pushed up to this price above $2 on that second peak. We sailed all the way down, but we were looking strong because we didn't go down too far below the 200 EMA before we started to look like a cycle was heading back up. So this price is holding strong. But with this double hump here, and then the crossover going back bearish, and now with 4 red candles in a row, it looks like we might have a change in momentum, because now we have a high here that was definitely a higher high from the previous, but now we have a lower high and we're sinking downward. Point of control price at 152. I will start the DCA at that point. I'd like to pile up and stack up on Flux because I wanted to get a pile of it at $1, but I missed it. Koval is looking bearish. Not too much of a price decline though compared to where the stochastic is, but it's just getting started there. So we can't really tell how far that is going to dip down. KRL, nice crossover there. We're going to have quite a bit of distance here if this momentum continues, and we could be headed back down to the point of control price at 84. My average on Koval on KRL is $2. I will be looking to DCA and bring that average price down. What happened was I missed, let me jump to the one-day chart so I can show you this. I missed the last major dip down here. I should have bought in here. No, I don't think it was that far ago. So I really didn't miss it. The last dip was not too bad for KRL. It was at $1.28. So this is a great time to be jumping into KRL. And it looks like the stochastic crossed over and is headed bullish, but the MACD shows us that we are coming down off of the peak on this histogram. And we don't know if if the oscillator is going to roll over and continue to head south, but the overall direction is downward. Flipping back to the 4-hour, looking at chain link at week $17. I wanted to get it when it was down at 13. I think we did dip down here back in, when was this? It was in July. I should have picked up some more at 13, and we did have this dip at the bottom of the market at 14 that I missed. But when you look at this right now, this is looking pretty negative, and it looks like we could dip back down to this big volume node at 15, while the point of control is way up high here at $26. I don't think we're headed in that direction because the stochastic says we're dipping down lower. Let's check the comments. We have no new comments. If you have a question, let me know as I run through the rest of the list. AMP at 3 cents and going further south. Stochastic crossover, it's looking bearish. We have a point of control price of 2.8 cents. I'll probably pick up a little bit more. We had a bottom of 2.5 cents that I missed in the last bottom once we headed into that bullish phase. OMI is looking pretty good. We've got some activity bouncing along on the 200 EMA. We're in between the 200 and the 50, trading below the point of control price of 0.0073. And there is a node down here at 0.0064. I don't know if it'll go that low or not. We'll have to wait and see if we get a bounce on the 200 EMA. But overall, I'm not too worried about OMI. CRO at 51 cents. I should have got some more back here on that last dip of 33. We're headed towards the point of control price of 45 cents. Very steep crossover here, bearish direction, steep angle, which tells me that we could be back into the 40s in a blink. And it looks like we have peaked out here on the MACD, and this is going to continue to drop if this momentum continues. Moving along, XPR, Proton. I like this project. And we are sitting at a nice price of 1.3 cents. And the stochastic is nasty. We're heading into oversold zone, and the MACD is taking a deep dive downward, and the histogram is printing red bars. So we might be falling below this 200 EMA. We just had the 50 cross over the 200, but it looks like that might get taken out. We'll wait and see what happens. XYO at 2.3 cents, trading below the 50 EMA. The same, very negative stochastic crossover, along with crossover about to happen on the MACD oscillators. We could be dipping down to the point of control price of 2.2 or going below that down to 2.08 cents. Moving right along, we've got IOTX that had such a nice bounce and doesn't look as bad. It looks like the stochastic is trying to come up and cross over and head back up, but the MACD has crossed over bearish, and this might be a fake impending crossover. I don't trust this. I'm thinking that we could at least head back down to this 50 EMA, which has just crossed over the 200. So that's a wait and watch situation. We could jump back down to this node at 7.2 cents, which would be a good time to pick some more up. Anchor looking pretty good, but we just crossed over on the stochastic. MACD is heading into the negative territory. We have two volume nodes just below at 7.8 cents and also 7.2 cents. Rock bottom price would be 6.2 cents, and our negative momentum in the market overall could get us to that point. Let's check comments really quick. What about short-term BTC? It's looking negative right now, and I covered that in the beginning, but we'll get back to that on the end and double check and see what it looks like. ACH is headed back down to the 200 EMA. It looks like the 50 is not going to make it back up to the 200 and cross over bullish with this big nasty drop on the stochastic. The MACD oscillators have crossed over bearish, and we're printing negative bars on the histogram, so it is headed down. We are below the current volume node of 0.051, and it looks like we could be heading down to this lower volume node at 4 cents. That would be a good buy. Uniswap, which has not looked good in the last few weeks since the low point when everyone was very negative and bearish. We are down at a price below $10, and I picked up 10 more at that point, a nice little bag. And then during the whole bullish romp of Bitcoin, Uniswap just did not make much headway. It peaked out at this volume node right here at $12.37, getting just above it, touching on the 200 EMA, and then jumping right back down. We are at the POC price of $11.40, headed into the oversold zone, and the MACD is crossing over and looking to complete a cycle down below the zero line. HTR also was down here at a very low price into the 60s, and I was mad that I didn't pick it up. I'm looking to jump back in. We hit our head twice, twice, and then we're diving back down. We're sitting in the middle between the 50 and the 200. We have that nasty bearish crossover on the stochastic and headed into oversold zone with the MACD diving down. UMB, I'm going to have to go ahead and buy this because my average price is like 60 cents on UMB. If we can jump down below the 50 EMA, which we touched on it once, but with this bearish direction on the stochastic with a nasty drop off and the crossover on the MACD, we might come down to this volume node at 17 cents or at 16 cents. I should have bought at this low point here and I didn't, so I'm not going to let this opportunity pass me by. I'm going to pick up a little bit more. Altcoin has done pretty good. It's sitting at the bottom right here at the 50 EMA. We are headed on a steep angle downward, about to head into the oversold zone, but overall it's done pretty good. I don't know if we'll make it down to this lower volume node at 19, but I did pick some up back here below $20. ASM, wow. I had a strike zone back here where I was going to buy between the price of 7.6 and 9.2 cents, and I didn't, and we have failed that. We're way below. So ASM is looking juicy with the crossover just happening and a big fat red candle right now where it looks like we're going to head down to this volume node at 5 cents, or below that it's just at 4.9. Good time to dollar cost average. Auction, we won't even talk about auction. I'm so disappointed in this one because I bought it way back here when we were in a bullish trend. I might have to DCA it. FX on Coinbase Pro at 60 cents. My average price was $1. If we fall off of this POC price of 60 cents, nobody knows how far down that this could go. If I scrunch in some price history, you see no trading volume underneath here. It's relatively new to Coinbase, and it's going down. CFG, Centrifuge, the project that Chico Crypto was so bullish about, has fallen completely off of the point of control price of 79 cents. We saw it earlier in the year or in December at $2, and it's headed south. Let's look at PLA. PLA at $1.12. I'm going to wait for that to come way down. There's not enough price history on this one for me to make a decision, but I do like the project. GMEE did well throughout the pump, coming back from dipping its head down below 10 cents. But we're looking bearish. We have the crossover. We have a nasty MACD making a lower high on the oscillators. And now we're printing negative bars on the histogram. And let's see where the targets could be. We could be headed to 16 cents, probably going to have a chance at 15 at the point of control. Then we have a node at 14. And then this big one right back down at 10 cents. So I don't know if we'll make it. It depends on what Big Brother Bitcoin is going to do. Gala Games. Why I didn't double down at 18 cents, I don't know. I'm kicking myself. But we are all the way down here, about to poke down below the 20 line and get into this oversold zone. The MACD has already moved all the way down, so it might catch itself here at the 50 EMA or the 200 EMA at around 28 cents. I don't see it getting this far, but we have volume nodes to look for at 26 cents, 25 cents, and then this big fat one centered around the POC price of 18. Do we get that far down again? I don't know. Chances are pretty slim. And again, it depends on what Big Brother Bitcoin does. Ethereum name service has not done well throughout the bullish romp. It did not follow Ethereum. We are in oversold zone officially already, but from the low point to this time right now, while everything else was moving up aggressively, ENS did not. So this is looking weak. And I don't know if we've got much price history. No, we don't. We're in negative price discovery. We're in reverse price discovery on ENS. I do hold a bag, and I'll be looking to maybe pick up a few more because I think ENS will be here for the long haul. Let's check comments and see if we have any questions. Thank you very much, Poops McGee, with the $10 super chat. I appreciate that. $10 Canadian. Thank you for helping support the channel. I will get down to Harmony 1. Let's see here. Let me jump to my audios if I can find it. I don't know where I put my audios, as I've got to give something to my man Poops McGee here. Let's see. We can jump down to videos. You'll like this. And then here we have my Crypto Pro set where I keep all of my favorite stuff. And here we go. This is for you, Poops McGee. And it is right. Yay! There, you get the yeah for the super chat. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. All right, let's keep it moving on with Keep. Keep had a very nice run coming off the bottom of 36 cents, and it never made it much past the point of control price of 72, 71 cents. We're moving downward, but it doesn't look too bad on the stochastic. It looks like it's trying to curl around, but the MACD shows a very bearish crossover, so we could be headed to this volume node at 52, or worst case at 43. Let me see. What do I want to look at? I want to look at DOT, and then we'll get down there and have a look at the one that was requested. DOT, Polkadot at 20. Okay, it didn't have much of a gain after the low point here at 16, and we're looking bearish. We're going to be down here in oversold zone. The MACD is already showing very bearish behavior here as we're printing red bars on the histogram. We have a divergence on the oscillators about to cross the zero line. Targets would be 19. The peak of this node here at 18 is possible, and I don't think we have much volume here below that point. So if we fall below, say 16, we're in reverse price discovery because it's just been too long since we've been at that lower price. B Pro, which I should have picked up at the bottom, 2.4 or 0.0024. We're looking bearish on the stochastic. We have a fall off here. It tried to catch itself and then it unfurled again. MACD oscillators are curling over, headed south, divergence going on here. So the momentum is headed south. We had a bullish crossover about to happen with the 50 sneaking up on the 200, but it might not make it. And if it doesn't, momentum will fall. We could see 0.0031 or as low as 0.0027. If we fall below that 200, I'm going to start DCAing once we get to the thick of this volume node right here. Key, self-key, I've been day trading or week trading, month trading this for several years. And I think if we can get back down to this node at 0.007 or 0.0066, I'm going to start DCAing and pick it up because I missed this bottom at 0.0059. XLM at 22 cents. It did very well during the bullish romp. And we also had the 50 trying to jump up to the 200, and it did not make it. We had a reversal here on the stochastic, faked out, and now we have a bearish crossover. We're headed into oversold zone. Target's going to be 22 cents or falling all the way back down to the POC of 19 cents. XCur did very good in the bullish romp, and now we're going to fall off. We're going to look at a volume node here at 264 or point of control of $2.10. But notice that we were just coming out of oversold here, overbought. It's just getting started on the bearish party. We have a MACD oscillators have peaked, have not crossed over yet. So there's a good chance we could fall all the way back down to the point of control price, which brings us to Telcoin. Telcoin, I missed at the bottom. This is nasty. We had almost made it into overbought territory, but we're just getting the party started on the bearish slide with a crossover here on the MACD coming off of a peak. Targets for Telcoin is point of control price of 0.0078 or coming down to 0.0065. I will start to DCA at that point. VeChain is dipping, nasty crossover of the stochastic, already gaining momentum on the negative crossover of the oscillators with the MACD with this divergence happening. You see how the oscillators are moving away from each other, and we have the red bars printing on the histogram. So VeChain targets 5.9 to 6 cents on this node, or the point of control price at 5 cents. And VThor is doing the same thing. It never caught momentum through the bullish romp, which kind of tells me that it's not the time yet for alts. That fake out of BTC just was not it. Okay, VRA did really well though. It jumped all the way up to the thick of this node. We were around 3 cents. We had a bullish crossover. 50 overtook the 200, but now we got a negative crossover and general bearish direction of this undecisive stochastic. And so we have a fall off on the MACD oscillators. We're already printing red bars. We could be jumping down to this volume node at 2.6 cents. Worst case scenario, returning back to 2 cents. Where is Harmony? Where is Harmony? Let me jump down to Harmony since we had asked about that. Harmony at, wow, 21 cents. So Harmony didn't get any momentum from the bullish romp, and it fell below the 200 EMA. The 50 never even made it back up here. We're sitting at the 50 right now, headed towards a point of control price of 18 cents. That might be a good time to start the DCA process on Harmony 1. And we haven't been down in this area for a long time, but if we scroll in here, if it really gains momentum on the negative, the targets will be 15 cents. Then there's a node at 12 cents, and God forbid, if we can get down to this bottom one at 10 cents, I'm going to double down because Harmony is a great project, but we don't know. If this is a fake out or a temporary dip, then Harmony could touch down at the point of control price and continue to move back up. Doge, it's not even worth talking about. ADA didn't do much at all. It's still in my strike zone box here. We didn't get any momentum on the bullish romp, and it's headed down. We're going to be down here in the oversold zone if we don't get a quick reversal. But the MACD says that the tendency here, the general direction, is moving down south. We could be headed back to the point of control price at $1. Let's check the comments. All right. Online, KZCY is in the house. Let me know where you're from too. KZCY, where are you from? Crypto Crash says no dump. He does not want to dump, but it's okay. If we get a dump, it's just a time to grab you some bargains. Very bullish. We just don't know yet. It could, turn around. I'm not giving any predictions on that. And I'm not going to say that I think we're in a bull market or a bear market. I just follow the charts and just see what the charts are telling us at the moment. And I tend to be a contrarian. Here's a point that I can make. Okay, let me jump back to Bitcoin, and then we'll come back down and finish these altcoins. So while we were here on Bitcoin, let me show you what happened. As we were sailing down, everybody was like, oh God, we're going to go into a bear market here. This is the end of the world. We jumped down, and once we got to this low point, what was everybody saying? We're going to go to 30,000, 20,000, 14,000, 10,000. Even BitBoy had lost all hope. There was not one prognosticator on YouTube saying that we were about to flip and have a bullish romp. Nobody predicted this. The general consensus was, at this point right here, was that we're falling off of the face of the earth, okay? And all of the economic indicators were saying the same thing. Then we got this action, and then boom. Why do we have that? Well, number one, it was an opportunity for the exchanges and the leveraged people, BitMEX and all the other crooks out there, to liquidate all of the shorts. And they did it. Now, everyone was saying that we're headed to 50,000. And go look on YouTube and look at all of the bullish videos for the last 3 days. Does anything ever play out when 95% of everyone says we're going in one direction? No, it does not. Because there's too much money to be made by the exchanges from liquidating people that are making these massive positions. And then also, when all of the whales are sitting here looking at everyone expecting for this to drop to 20,000, they say, hey, we got a lot of liquidity right here. We can buy a lot between this area here without running up the price too bad. So all of the whales, Michael Saylor, everybody, all of them, this is the time period right here where they were able to gobble up a lot without completely pushing Bitcoin way back up to 50,000. And then after that point, we saw the liquidation of the shorts, and then we shot up here, okay? And then for people selling, there's a lot of liquidity in here where too many people are jumping in buying because 95% of everyone was saying we're pushing up to 50,000. So now they're taking advantage. And that's why we have this steep dip right here. And then when you add to that, you have the economic indicators that give us no reason to believe that Bitcoin should be shooting up to the moon right now, especially with the report about inflation. And you got the feds who are announcing that we're going to start raising the rates. Okay. On top of that, Evergrande hasn't gone away. The Tether FUD hasn't gone away. We also have the seizure of the 3.6 billion in Bitcoin, and they don't know what the government's going to do with that. They're not going to flood it out on the market and sell it, but we don't know what's going to go. So we're back in a point of uncertainty, and we also don't know what's going to happen with the viruses and all of that, and how the current health situation will affect the general markets, okay? So while everyone was extremely bullish, it is complete to the contrary why we're having this dip right now. So we just watch and see what the chart says. Let's jump back down, and then we're going to go to the 1-day chart and the 1-week chart, and I'll show you something that is bullish that would certainly agree with your bullish stance over all crypto cash, because it is. What's up, Carl R. in the house? Good to see you. Hopefully what I just explained will let you know what you missed. It's just the reality of the current conditions of the economics throughout the world, catching up with the charts, and also some whales taking advantage of people who were listening to the consensus that believed everything could only go up at this point. All right, let's look at a few others. Marsh never gained momentum from the bullish romp, and we're looking bearish, and there's not much price history below this point. We're in negative price discovery, but Marsh is a great project. So I'm looking to see how Marsh plays out, and I want to start to accumulate it if we can head down here to the 30 cents area. Elrond Gold. It didn't make a lot of gains from its low point at 122. We got up above the 200 EMA. And the 50 never did cross over, so we can't confirm a change in direction. There's not enough price movement in this micro bullish trading channel here. It could bounce off of this 200 and continue to move up. That's a possibility. But the stochastic says we're going down, and the MACD says we're going down. We have a node here. We could possibly see 163. We could see 149. And we could also see the point of control price of 141. I don't know what could happen after that point. For right now, the closest indication is we're falling off of this node. We're sitting on the next one, and we have a slip zone here where there's not much volume, popular pricing going on in between these two nodes. So the next popular pricing point is 162. GRT graph. This is also indicative of the fact that we're not really there yet in the overall change. The time that we went from the bottom of graph of 35 cents to right now, it didn't gain much traction. It made it up here to the 200, it got above it, and then it hit it as resistance and headed right back down, and now we're falling below the 50, which means that this next volume node of 43 cents is possible, or the point of control back down to 41 cents. Crossover right there on the stochastic. MACD is looking sloppy, and it's diverging. See these two oscillators? The blue line is the fast line, and it's diverging away from the fast line. And then we're printing bars in the negative on the histogram. Block. This one has too many tokens. This is kind of trash if you ask me, but it's a popular one. It didn't do good at all from the last low point. It's still way below the 200. This is spiking up here, and this means nothing. Here's the thing: you got to look at what return on price you get for stochastic peaks. Let me explain what that means. Okay, here's a peak stochastic. Here's the price it returned. Here's the next peak stochastic. It returned a higher high, but not much. Here's the next peak. It returned the same price, just above the point of control. Here's the next peak. It got us above the point of control. The next peak, we had this peak right here. That's not telling us much. So this big spike here, whenever this peak happens, look here. We have a lower price right there at the current positioning of this stochastic here. So overall, as this oscillator is moving, it's confirming side banding, and now we're kind of downtrending. We have a bullish crossover right here on the MACD, but it's probably not going to bring us much because this could roll over and then jump back below the zero line. So there's not much happening there, and I would say that there's a good chance that this could fall right back down to the thick of this volume node at 2.4 cents. Loom is a one that I have bought and sold a gazillion times. It actually has a bullish crossover here after a fake out where it looked like it was going to cross over bearish. I don't know what Loom's doing. This fast line is curling up a little bit on the MACD. I don't know. It could jump back up here to this volume node at 8.1 cents, but after that it could drop back down to the POC of 6.7. Loom is doing some weird things, and it did have this massive pump here. That was crazy. It jumped all the way up here to what, 15 cents? That was a sucker punch right there. I feel sorry for whoever bought at that point, but that's not a good indication. DNT flatlined here, had a little bit of an increase. Pardon me. It bumped its head on the 200 EMA, and it's falling back down. Steep crossover on the stochastic. And it is headed towards the POC price of 8.2 cents. Let me see if there's anything else fun we can look out here. Civic, it did pretty good in the last romp. We had a bullish crossover. 50 made it above the 200, and we were back down to the 200 EMA. This sharp drop off is coming as a result of these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red candles in a row. Negative bearish crossover of the MACD oscillators. This is going into the negative. Price targets on this one, if it continues fall, could be anywhere on these going down as low as, say, 26 cents, or the big one at 23. If it continues to slide, the biggest node here is at 21 cents. Let's check the comments real quick. Oh wait, Theta. Let's look at Theta at $4. It had a nice miniature run. It got way above the 200 EMA. It jumped up to this big node here at $4.11. And now we have a crossover all the way up here in the oversold zone, which ain't good, because if this is the peak of the momentum of the stochastic oscillators, we're probably going to jump back down to the 200 EMA and be back down in the $3 range. Point of control price is $2.97. Once this MACD curls over, if momentum continues and Big Brother Bitcoin doesn't cause a big rally, we could have some more cheap Theta. Let's check the comments while I get a throat lozenge. Okay, somebody is asking about IMX. Yes, let me pull that up for you, Carl. And then we're going to jump into the one-day chart after we look at my favorites at the bottom that I'm currently buying. Let's look at IMX on Tether. That's not saying much. It's ugly. Okay, so this was weak. The stochastic was like, oh, I'm trying to get up here, curl over. And now you see that the fast line is diverging from the slow line. Oh, it just ticked again negative. Uh-oh. IMX is going down. We're going to enter into negative price discovery for IMX. All I can tell you is that there's a little node here at $2.39. There's another one here at $2.13. It's just too early on. The MACD is down here in the negative territory. There's a bottom here, so maybe we could just draw a line here and say, hey, we wicked a few times at $2 about. So maybe that's the rock bottom. Maybe it'll find a bottom there. Not looking so good there, IMX. Let's scroll down here and get to this little section of some favorites that I have that I'm looking at. Zilliqa, I'm looking to get back in. It didn't make too much of a rally. It jumped above the 200 and then it went bounce, fail, and now we're below the 50. Negative stochastic, taking a steep angle downward. MACD falling off. The oscillators are diverging, and we're printing red bars on the histogram. Where can it go? Well, we definitely will most likely hit this node at 5.1 cents. That's very likely. Next possibility, 4.8 cents, and then POC price of 4.4 cents. Maybe it'll find itself there and find a bottom because we got a lot of action around this price line of 4.3 cents. PBX, I like it. And it did nothing throughout the rally. And we're going to be in negative price discovery if it does not. No, there we go. We got some volume nodes here. PBX could come back down to the point of control price of 1.3 cents. This is looking nasty. MACD is looking like it's about to take a trip into negative territory. So if we fall off of this node, it's looking likely that we're going to hit this POC node down here below at 1.3 cents. Shipping, which is a cool project. I jumped on this one somewhere around here at 3 cents, and it's just wobbling, side banding at 3 cents. This stochastic is trying to cross over and come up. Who knows? Maybe it'll catch itself. MACD is looking like it's curling over, ready to fall back into the low zone. But you notice we had like it released, and then we had the big push up, and then we have a smaller push up, and then another hump there. But at least it looks like it's trying to hang around this POC price of 30 cents. That might be the rock bottom. NCT that I like is falling off of the point of control price of 5 cents, and we could be into negative price discovery. But look at this. There's a bullish crossover. That's nice. And the fast line is diverging from the slow line. And look at this overall direction on the MACD oscillators. Check this out, guys. This is kind of cool. Overall, it's doing this. So we might start to move up. And if we do, we could be heading towards the next volume node of 5.3 cents, or maybe it'll jump up here to 6.6 cents. And then we have this previous peak price at 7.98 cents, somewhere around there. I guess NCT is into, it's a security project, I think. And they're saying that it has high use. So this might be the bottom for NCT. I might have to grab some more. Polka Starter, I should have got it at 30 cents. But now that I thought I lost it, once it jumped above the point of control price of 46 cents, and we peaked out all the way up to 59 cents, we're coming down here headed towards the 50, even though we have a green bar forming. But this negative break here and crossover is saying that we're going down because the MACD oscillators are headed down. And we have a divergence from the fast and the slow line, print negative bars on the histogram. If we can get back down here to this 30 cents node, I'm jumping on board. Let's check the comments, and then we're going to get back to Bitcoin. And we're going to look at the 1 day and the 1 week, and I'm going to show you what I see. Yes, that Junior Sant, all of those variations, that does have an effect. David Ennis says, what do you think it will take for BCT not to follow whatever the NASDAQ is trending? Thanks for your videos. Thank you for the comment, David. I don't know. I really don't know, because, you know, it's broken away. It hadn't really been in lockstep, but I guess it would take everybody finding more security in Bitcoin as a hedge against the inflation. And when you do the math and you look at the dollar value going down, it makes it quite convoluted to figure out what your value is doing. Let's say with inflation going up and the dollar value going down and Bitcoin side banding. How do we do this math? Let's say if Bitcoin is sitting here wobbling around here at 43,000 while the dollar loses its value, we got to look at DXY. Let's look at DXY. we had this big slide. So the dollar was losing value, then it was popping up. We had this big crossover on the stochastic, and it's headed upward, but it touched here on the 200. Now it looks like it could be rejecting, but the MACD is saying, I want to go up higher as the fast line is diverging away from the slow line, and we're printing solid green bars on the histogram. So if the dollar is gaining strength, and Bitcoin is losing strength, if this dollar value starts to go down and inflation goes up and the prices in the supermarket are getting higher and you're not able to get as many dozens of eggs with the same dollar bill that you could before, and if the NASDAQ is going down, if you're losing your value there, but then Bitcoin is holding strong, maybe Bitcoin could be a hedge against that inflation. And as I'm trying to crank this out of my mind, it's so convoluted, I can't unravel it right now. But if people are looking at Bitcoin as a hedge against inflation, then it could have a positive effect on the price of Bitcoin. Let's flip to the 1 day and look at the DXY first. The DXY is looking pretty good, even though this crossover has happened and the fast line looks like it's, at first it was going up at a steep angle and now it's going less steep. But the MACD is saying crossover is coming and we could get back into the green bar area. So overall, it looks like the dollar is gaining strength, which is really weird. And I'll have to look up and study the effect of inflation on the strength of the dollar. But right now, it looks like the world is betting on the dollar, okay, because it's on an overall long uptrend from this bottom point where we were at back here in January. Let's go back even further. So we came up, we came down, and we bottomed out at generally the same point of just below 90. And this is in an uptrend right now. That's in an uptrend. We'll have to see if it rolls over. I don't know if it will roll over or not. Okay, back to Bitcoin. So here we are on the 1 day. What does it look like? Without listening to anybody and none of the prognosticators, without all of the know-it-alls that are trying to tell you what's going on, let's just read the chart. And this ain't me predicting anything, okay? Understand that. I'm just telling you what we see right here. Take it for face value. I'm not making predictions. We'll look at the 1 day, then we're going to look at the 1 week. Now, on the 1 day, what do we see? We see a reversal in price right here. We see that we never made it above this, the top sloping line of the parallel trending, the bearish trending channel. We never made it out of that. We had the death cross happen right here. We have the 50 EMA that was kind of moving up. But if price goes down, that 50 is going to go down too. So we were trying to get this 50 to come back up and make bullish cross and move back up. So that is thing number one. Thing number two is we're sitting at this volume node at the current price, and then there's one right below it. So let's look at the possibilities. But before we look at those possibilities, let's put our eyeballs on this nasty crossover. We were way up high. We peaked out on the stochastic, and we didn't get a double hump where we stay up here. Remember back when, during these previous periods, and I have it indicated on the chart here, where we just stayed above in this bullish romp, and we stayed above here again, and then we came back up one more time right here. We had the big fat overall downward trend through this period of time here. So that's not the same as when we stayed buried above in the stochastic here, because the overall trend in this zone was up and away in my beautiful balloon. We're coming back down to ground because that balloon's losing hot air. In other words, there's momentum here, and that could mean that the stochastic, it could take an entire trip all the way back down to here and do a full cycle. I don't know just yet. And then we also look at the MACD. We see that we peaked out on the histogram, and it looks like the fast line is starting to curl over and head towards the slow line. Now, let's clear all of this stuff out. And we're going to look at the 1 week chart because it's hard to see on this chart here. Whoops. Take drawing mode off. Before we go to the 1 week chart, we'll look at possibilities here just as far as where the support resistance zones are. So we're at the top of this current support resistance zone. If we fall below the 50, we're going to head towards these nodes and maybe touch upon the bottom of this support resistance zone. That's most likely. And then maybe we move up and continue the bull market. If we don't, we have another support resistance zone here, which would match this upwardly sloping blue trend line, which connects the two bottoms from the previous bottom points. And then we could sail on up. But if we fail that, then that's where we got to start talking about this support resistance zone and this one right here. But we don't know. It's all about probabilities. Highest probability is we stay in this zone right here and then go. Medium probability is dipping down into these and then going. Lowest probability is dipping all the way down to this one and going. Of lowest probability is all the talk of going all the way back down to 20,000 or whatever. I'll believe that when I see it. Now, to move on to the 1 week, let's check comments. All right, we're good. Clicky, clicky. My wife is home. I just heard the garage door open. Let's crunch this down and get a nice weekly chart here with lots and lots of price history. This 1 week chart looks good. And this is why I don't think that anybody should be really concerned, because things look fantastic here, and I'll tell you why. On the 1 week chart, we've got a very bullish crossover right there. In fact, let's make that in green. The stochastic crossed over right there at that point, and it's headed upwards. That's nice. And then we also see that downstairs on the MACD, we notice that the blue, the fast line, it's kind of curling where it looks like it's wanting to come up, and the slow line is going down, so we might have a crossover. Also notice light green bars on the histogram. So we're headed back to the zero line right here. So this says that the overall damage has been done, and we have 1, 2, 3 candles on the weekly chart. 2 of them of the 3 have closed, which is a good thing. And even if we get a red one here, we could still bottom out and touch down on the blue ascending baseline, and we're still looking good. Now, let's look at the volume nodes. All right, current price. We're at the thick of this node. We're in the middle of these 2 nodes at 42. So we have the one right above it at 48, which we could tear off to at any given moment. And then we have the one at 38. So here's the thing. 38, that's the one I'm looking for right there, where I'm going to say, I'm going to start DCAing and buying a bunch of stuff at this one right there, because there's no guarantee that we could go down further below that. All right. Now, I won't listen to people when they start saying we're dropping down to 10,000 or 20,000 or 19. There's a volume node right there, but we're going to have to scrunch in. Let's do this. Let's pull this in and pull this up so we can see like this. Now we can see a little bit of these nodes. All right. So this is the one I'm looking for. I'm not betting on moving anywhere further below this support resistance zone and this one. And I'm also going to tell you that we could bounce right here at the bottom of this big, thick support resistance zone at 40,000. If we continue to go below, I'll keep buying, because the good thing is right now the alts haven't taken off. And I buy alts. I don't have anything in Bitcoin. I got like $20 of Bitcoin. I just don't do it. I'm a rebel. I want to get the big gains on alts, okay? And so that is why I'm not too overly concerned, because this whole bearish thing, it's about to end. And then what's the other big fat indication that we see right here? Well, I'll tell you. Let's circle it. We have a base here that we exploded out of, and we have a bottom here, and then we have a bottom here. If this is a bottom, guess what? We can draw a line between those little bottoms and look at the overall trend. It's still bullish, all right? So we kind of went bouncy. We went whoop and down, up, fake out, up and down. And then we could probably do another uppy and down where we hit like the 100,000 or something like that. Then bear market and come back down to, say, the 50s and go to the next one, which would be out of the stratosphere. So that's the 1 week chart. Now, let's check the comments. VUM today. What's a VUM? Is that a coin? I don't know what that is. I can look here. Let me flip back to the 1 day. And then I'm going to do a couple more alts on the 1 day, and then I'm going to be done. VUM. Okay, so that's not a project. I don't know what that means. Okay, let's go back to XRP on the 1 day. I'm going to flip down through the 1 days, and then I'm done. So the 1 day bearish crossover. At least, this lets us know on the 1 day chart for the next several days or week, we could get some nice corrections that will bring us some lovely prices coming out of overbought zone here on Ethereum. We could go back into the middle zone. Litecoin's the same. Matic is the same. Solana is the same, already in the middle zone. KDA is the same, crossing over, coming to the middle zone. Flux is the same, we're in the middle zone. Bearish direction, crossover. Koval is kind of the same, but curling around, might already be at a bottom. KRL is looking bullish-ish, but Link is the same. It's correcting. AMP is the same. It's correcting. Do you see what's happening here? OMI is the same, but it might find a bottom at the POC of 6.8. CRO is kind of the same, where we're still up here in the overbought zone, but it might get down in here into the middle. Proton is the same. XYO is the same. IOTX is the same. You see what we're looking at here? Okay, so at least for a few days, we got bargains coming. So there's nothing to be worried about, really. HTR is the same. And we'll just have to wait and see what the news does. And UMB has a bullish crossover right there. So when UMB might be ready to buy, it might not make it down here to that 16 cents according to the 1 day chart. Okay. No more questions, then we are done. That's all I've got for today. We're going to end the live stream. Thank you to everyone for watching. And let me know in the comments if you want more live stream coverage on the Bitcoin market, crypto as a whole. And I would be glad to do that for you. I haven't done enough. I've been big into the VV NFTs here lately, but if you guys want me to cover the top 100, we can definitely do that. And thank you again to Poops McGee for helping me out. I appreciate that because it is expensive for me to keep this up. It costs a lot because it takes away time from my consulting, but once I can get my YouTube income up, then that means I can spend more time doing it. So if it's of a value to you guys, I will continue that. Jack Hades says Luna is looking like a bargain right now. I'll end on Luna. I do like Luna. We'll look at the Tether US Binance chart. We have a crossover. It's looking like it's coming down to the 200 EMA. We have a big fat volume node at 51. We have point of control at 43. So it's probably going to come down into this price range here. Yeah, that's a good time to buy it because it looks like it peaked out above 100. So that'd be good for at least a double on the next run. Well, again, thanks for the super chats. And yes, Daniel Espinal, Zill is a good buy. Jai Dillon, my neighbor, is in the house. Thank you very much, Jai. I appreciate it. You get the big fat. Yay! All right. So for those of you who do not know, Jai is my partner living across the street. He is a musician, entrepreneur, big time investor, and an amazing bass player who has played for some big name people. That's my bro right there. Glad you jumped in on the end here, Jai. I've been promising to go live for quite some time, so I'm glad you caught it. I'll try to do another one maybe Friday night because I'm going to St. Louis on Saturday, coming back for the Super Bowl party here at my house. Jai, if you're around, come on over for the Super Bowl party. I'll have to get you and our other neighbors to come over if you want to watch, have some food, have some fun. Well, again, thank you very much. It has been great. And I will try to click the button somewhere here to end the live stream. I'm still learning how to do this, so it's always clunky on the end, but I'll go ahead and click off, and we will see you all very soon. Thank you very much, and